Right, let's talk meat, shall we? Are you a meat eater? Do you like it? Apparently now, if we want to help save the climate, we've got to cut our meat eating down. 2 burgers a week or the equivalent is what we should be aiming for. Laurie, people will be sitting at home thinking to themselves, you know, people attack my alcohol consumption, they attack my cigarette smoking, and now they're coming for my meat. They just want to have a burger and be left alone.
Yeah, why? So analyses like these are basically saying if the world food system is very globalised, we get meat and stuff from all over the world, if it stays like it is, with all the costs that then impose on the environment, like, for example, the bits of the Amazon that are cut down to then whack cattle on, to grow them, to slaughter them, to bring them all the way over to the UK to make food. If it carries on like that, then you would, of course, have to start to minimise the amount of stuff that we eat. What I would say, instead of... I say, well, we need to change the system then. That's the primary thing we need to do. We don't need to be going around and saying, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. We need to change the system so that damage isn't being caused. So, for me, we need to, for example, have much more domestic types of production of our food. You know, we used to be in a situation where the UK grew and produced most of its food, and that situation has diminished as time has gone on. There has been situations where the UK has
maybe
after the Second World War,
in the Middle Ages.
After
food imports.
Hang on, let him finish.
The history, in large parts, the history of the way that Britain has been fed. Right, ignore the Middle Ages. When there was a British Empire, it was a highly globalised situation. Food was coming from all over the place. Right, in fact, that is reflected in many of our culinary habits now, you know, our love of Indian food, our love of food from all over the world. It's partly a result of that very globalised setup. Then we had the World Wars, and it showed to people, that if we relied on getting so much of our food abroad, that was a risk to our food security. And immediately after the war, the Second World War, you got a process of more of our food being produced domestically. And now we're not back to where we were with the time British Empire, but, you know, you go into Tesco or whatever and your food is coming from all over the place. You see it on the labels where it's come from. So for me, what we need to be talking about here is less, you know, with the current food system, with all the destruction it causes, you've got to only eat 2 burgers. It's, well, we have to change that system so that we can still enjoy the foods that we eat. We can eat better and more nutritious food, but we can do it in a way that isn't leading to the Amazon being cut down and so on.